She's saying it's wasteful that we're spending all this money on diversity. Well, it's her government's money that's doing it, isn't it? I mean, this idea that Esther McVey's the sort of common sense minister and she's the only one who suddenly worked out that we've been under the same government for 13 years and it's all been going horribly wrong. I mean, what is going on?
Yeah, it is a bit hilarious that that's happened. But is she still doing DB News?
Well, she had to, I think, not anymore. I actually think they've kind of done a bit of a number on Esther McVey because some of what she's looking at, public sector waste is really important.
It is so important.
Policing is really important. Yeah. Questions about two-tier policing. There's loads of really kind of awful, divisive DEI stuff that goes on in Whitehall and, you know, large sums of money being given to organisations like Stonewall. This is all really important. So why did they have to give her such a silly title that's just so easily mockable?
That's the problem, is it was just so easy mockable. But she almost did name herself that. She was, and there's the Common Sense group, the Tory group.
They all nicked it from me, you know, because I was home with Common Sense before any of them and thought of it, you know.
You patented it.
I haven't received any money for it or anything. But no, I mean, the thing is that surely if they'd wanted to get rid of all of that ridiculousness and the crazy woke brigade diversity instructions, they could have just
made us civil service minister.
They should have just said, this is now what we're doing. All of this is going, every single department, from the Home Office to the Foreign Office to, you know, the Department of Defence and Health and everything else. All of this is gone. None of it is any more part of the network. And that's, you don't appoint one person, because she now gets all the flack for sort of, you know, she'll be anti-trans next, she'll be chased down the road by people, you know, all of that stuff will happen to her.
I think she's brave in a way to take this portfolio on, because so far, you know, no minister really manages to fight the blob effectively. And, you know, that's the whole civil service, which is so woke, it's untrue. You know, the Competition and Markets Authority,
when did all this happen?
Spend 10% of their time on equality, diversion, diversity, gold diversity, inclusivity. And you know, it's linked to bonuses. It's just it's completely sedimented throughout.
But can anyone remember when did it start?
Well, the thing is, I would say I think there are some really, really brilliant civil servants who work incredibly hard, but it's very difficult in the civil service for anyone to get sacked ever. So what you end up with is maybe like half the workforce doing all the work, and then there are lots of people who are, you know, not pulling their weight. And it's harder than it would be in the private sector to, you know, move people. Of course, that's not to say that there aren't slackers and wasteful HR types in the private sector. Obviously, there are tons of those, but I guess the difference is we're not forced to pay for them.
I don't think many of them work for Michelle Moan's company. I don't think she's got too much diversity inclusion going on.
But honestly, not all civil servants.
But it doesn't, I mean, I'm sorry to keep saying this, old enough to remember when the civil service was kind of bad for different reasons. It was too conservative, it was full of blokes, it was full of people who didn't want to do very much to change the way that we are. But it's suddenly now completely reversed and has now become this radical kind of outspoken organisation of people who won't do what they're told and who are following Stonewall.
I've always thought about this, and I think it's because they had to... All government policy that may be about these kind of social issues had to be demonstrated, and they use the civil service to lead by example. And in my time working in politics quite directly at times, I have kind of seen it happen where people, have friends that are in the civil service and they'd be talking about things that just didn't really matter. That they'd have these afternoons that they did kind of take these classes and it didn't really matter, and then they'd all be saying how busy they were and how they were expected to do more work. And they kind of, like some people, if they were part of certain diverse groups, were allowed to have afternoons where they just kind of met as a part of those diverse groups, and someone was complaining because they didn't have a diverse group. And it just seemed very pointless. Pointless.
I bet they were all celebrating International Migrants Day, which apparently today, and I was wondering whether there would be one for people who weren't migrants. I don't know what you call them. What do you call people who are not migrants?
People that like staying put.
People that don't like moving about much day. I mean, you know, it's why have they got International Migrants Day? But about half the Home Office will have taken the day you know.
They have an EDI calendar in the civil service that marks all these days. They live by it.
But, you know, this
I have to get my hands on one.
These termites have also done pretty well across the private sector and across all kinds of countries.
Well, some of the private sector is even worse, isn't it? I mean, what happened at NatWest, what happens
But actually, interestingly, quite a lot of these departments have been scaled back. It's happening even more in the States because I think a lot of companies leapt on this as a sort of woke washing, but people have become more cynical. And also, if you're losing money, that's the first department that you cut back because it's not adding value to the company. So there has been a bit of pruning of this. I hope to see more of it in this country.
Yeah, but I mean, again, with the Stonewall business, if you're higher up the Stonewall kind of ladder of fame because you do more of it, you get more points and you get better business and all of that. With the question of sport being asked, we asked, football focus a week next to go, do you feel sport and politics have become too intertwined? IP says, once you watch a match, why do you need to hear other people's opinions? Isn't your own opinion enough?
I agree.
Well,
I'd have to watch a match first to let you know.
Yeah,
Not
okay.
sure.
And then obviously we wouldn't want your opinion on it because we just want our own opinion.
I need someone's commentary. It's either the TV or it's like my uncle who's a season ticket holder of Aston Villa. Otherwise, I won't know what's going on. You know.
No, absolutely right.